All right, so today we're going to be doing a little more question and answer. We're also going to be doing another walk around on the Jeep, going through some of the gear that I use and how my Jeep's set up ready to go. So we're going to get right into it. I'm the least comfortable doing these kind of videos because I have to think and speak instead of just do the job I normally do. So 24/7 winter towing. So welcome to this question and answer video. We got Ed with us today. We got the dogs. They think we're going somewhere. We're going to talk about the gear that I keep in my Jeep. Some of the gear that we keep in here right now is specific to winter time. I'll let you know what that is. We'll go over the standards. So this is my shovel. This is what I carry. I know it doesn't look like much of a shovel, but it doesn't weigh anything and it gets the job done. So we run that. I carry this tri-ball hitch. I usually, mostly it fits in the front, but if I have to pull a trailer or anything, I use it. It's got a good design for hooking a rope up too easily. I've got a triple shear if I hook it up this way. It's really strong. I've got these soft shackles from Yankum. I don't have a lot of experience with the soft shackle, but we've found these really useful for recovering razors, things that don't have, the side-by-sides that don't have good recovery points. We can put these around the A-arms. I got two of them, so I can put two of them on there. We'll show that next time we do a recovery on one of those, but that works really good.
Don't scratch them up.
Yeah. We carry water in here. We've got probably a little over a gallon of water that is just loose in there. So there's that. It's winter time, so we're carrying the washer fluid. I've got two of these static straps. I think they're about 8 feet long. We use them for setting up different, if we have to do an angle pull or something, a double angle pull, or make a bridle for some reason. They work good for that. I've got the 20-foot Yankum rope, and then I've got two of the 30-foot, and that's what I keep in here all the time. Between these three ropes, I can get everything I need to. And if I hook all three of them together, that gives me 80 feet. And from experience, I can tell you that anything over 80 feet doesn't work anymore. The energy, I can put a lot of energy in the rope, but it gets released too slowly and it just pulls me back to whatever I've done. Got these little bow shackles. I'll use these for hooking on to the backs. There's various styles of hooks that these will go into, that these will fit into, that a bigger bow shackle won't. Now, a lot of the videos on YouTube about recovery are off-road vehicles. So you'll see two Jeeps working with each other, or two Land Rovers, or whatever. They're off-road rigs and they've got recovery points. Most of the vehicles that I pull out do not have recovery points, and I have to somehow connect my rope to that car reliably. And so I just have several different systems. And like I said, we just started using these soft shackles, and as I get better at understanding where these work, so we'll probably integrate those in a lot more with what we're doing. These bow shackles are very, very strong, and we use those quite a bit. I use two bridles. There's going to be people that are not happy that I have a chain in this equation. I want to say something sarcastic right now, should I? So this bridle has the 8-inch J. The longer J hooks aren't good for recovery because when they're slack, they fall down, hit the ground, and then can come unhooked. They just cause problems. So this is the one style that I use. I can go around axles or A-arms or anything that's robust enough for that. And then this is the other one, and I use this one quite a bit. If they've got the recovery points, these mini J's will go in little holes in the frame and stuff like that. Why I like the bridle is I'm able to pull from 2 points, and I'm able to center the vehicle for the recovery. So effectively, I'm putting half the stress on the chassis of the vehicle I'm recovering with a bridle versus just hooking to 1 point. I've got my snow chains. These are V-bar. Come up here and look at this. They've got the V-bar on them. So these are really good for the ice. All right, so I had a fan of the channel send me this Omega Mill bag. It's specifically shaped for the XJ. And we were able to take all of our first aid, to consolidate all of our first aid equipment, and we also keep some of our granola bars in here. So this is, if we come up and rescue you and you've been there a few days, we'll at least have some granola bars and some water to give you while we get you off the mountain. So this has solved a big problem of just stuff rolling around. Got to solve a problem with this, or maybe we won't. It's been working. So these are the two kinds of shackles I use. I've been using these for 40 years. I've never seen one of these fail, ever. Not in any capacity. And I'm not talking about just towing and recovery. I'm talking about in real life. I've never seen a bow shackle fail. The soft shackle, this particular soft shackle is rated for 8,700 pounds. So if I use it to connect one of these kinetic ropes, and these kinetic ropes, the 7/8 is about almost 30,000 pounds. 28,300 is its burst strength. So this soft shackle is going to fail before anything else does and turn that rope loose. The reason I like these bow shackles is because they never fail, and they're not going to turn anything loose. So if something's going to break, I would like to take that out of the equation. I need to do some more research on these soft shackles and see if I can get a higher rated one. But until then, I'll use these when they're strong enough, and I'll use these when I need a little more strength. There's a lot of this is another bridle that I use. It's got the little mini J hooks. This particular hook has a working load limit of 5,400 pounds. I don't know if this is a factor of 4 or a factor of 7. I don't know what the total destructive force would have to be on this to break it. But with 2 of these hooks, that's 10,800 pounds. Even if you just did a factor of 2, that's 20,000 pounds. So this is got a 20,000 pound burst strength. I bet you it's way higher than that though. Never broke one of those. Never seen them fail. If I'm using these, I'm not going to be doing a very hard pull. This is going to be going on something real small on a car just to pull it back, back onto the road. My hard fast rule for what do I hook to, I get asked a lot. It's going to sound like I'm totally reckless when I say this, but I hook to whatever is easiest and strong enough to get the job done without damaging the vehicle. So if you follow that rule, you will never damage a vehicle extracting it. You'll never hurt anybody, because whatever you hook to is strong enough to do the job. I'll show you some cars. I've got some cars around here. We'll go over some of the points and show how some of these things work. I haven't prepared any of this, so you're going to be watching me figure this out in real time. We're going to walk around the yard here and just look at some cars and see what we've got for recovery points. So let's say this Hyundai was stuck in the sand or mud, doesn't matter. Let's say it's stuck. I'm gonna pull up. My Jeep's gonna have both of those bridles and these two different sizes of bow shackles. I don't anticipate using this on this car, but let's look under here and see what we've got. So I'd pull up and I'm gonna look under here first and see what I have. We've got there's no recovery points here at all. Hopefully you can see this. So I'd come under here and look at this lower arm. This lower arm, it's a welded, it's a stamped metal construction welded together in a box. It's robust enough to do pretty heavy recovery. It's got a nice big hole in here. I can feel that's boxed also. I could hook the big J hook there, or I could actually hook it through this hole. It's able to transfer energy through these bushings right here that connect to the subframe. This is plenty robust. I could hang this car in the air from both of these A-arms without doing any damage to it. So let me show you. So probably the best option here is to go right through this hole right there. And I can put a lot of force on that to pull this car out without doing any damage. And then the hook's gonna stay in there good. I could just put it behind there like that. That's a less secure way, but it's just as strong, or it's strong enough. So that's how I could recover this car from the front. Let's come back here to the rear. Let's say I'm gonna be pulling it from the rear. The same thing, I've got to make these decisions. I don't have all the cars memorized, how they're set up or designed. Okay, this car, this is gonna depend. Let's say the car's just got its front wheels in the sand, it's stuck. It's not stuck very bad. I could pull off it right there, but I definitely wouldn't want to put a lot of force on that. These are really tough. Suspension pieces are tough, but that's not the best point. I wouldn't hesitate to do it if the car was not very stuck, if it's not going to take a lot of force to do it. Right here would actually be a little better point. I could put a hook through here. This would probably be a little stronger. Even pulling off this sway bar isn't a bad choice. So there's going to be people that are not going to be happy with everything I just said there, but if you're not damaging the vehicle and you get the vehicle out, that's all we're looking for. These cars aren't great. They're not designed great for recovery. There's other options that we can do. If you can soft strap through the wheel. I don't have to do this very often, but let's say this is a really heavy recovery. We don't want to damage anything. You can soft strap through the wheel and just drag the wheel out, and you can put a lot of force on that wheel. So there's that. Let's look at this car. There's another car with a, is this gonna be a boring video? If it's edited right. This car right here has got, these aren't very strong, but once again, if hang on. If it's a small recovery, a lot of these cars are just in the sand. You could hook it right there, put the bridle on both sides, you could pull this out. The subframe is going to be a little more robust. It has some holes in it for where I can get a J hook in there. I could put a lot of pull on this. I could hang the car in the air from right there without doing any damage. If I don't need to go to the A-arms, I won't. But let's say that hole wasn't there. We've got a good one in the A-arm right there. So a lot of cars are going to be like this, where there's usually better places in the front than in the rear, and unfortunately the way the cars are stuck, you usually have better access in from behind. So you just got to be careful what you're hooking to and how much force you're willing to put on it. The newer the cars are, the less likely you are to have a good recovery point. They've decided to leave that off cars. We'll go on a few older ones over here and I'll show you what we're talking about. All right, this car is wrecked, but it's got this. There's this little recovery hook. It's not a very robust one. They put in the center of some of these cars. This is just welded to the sheet metal under the car. This is a great recovery point. Once again, if they're just stuck in the sand, it's not going to take a lot of force. We can just pull them out with that. If you get too frisky with that, you'll rip it off. I've never ripped one off, but I've seen them ripped off. Hey, Freya. I'm getting a lot of comments and questions about the nature of the Yankum rope and how brutal it might look to people who aren't familiar with it. I mean, I back up and I get a run and go, and there's been comments about straightening people's frames and bending people's frames and bending frames into trapezoids. So if you're not familiar with the XJs, they are just notoriously weak bodied. So they're great little rigs, but when you start doing extreme stuff with them, they need some help in the stiffening department. So there's a huge aftermarket for frame stiffeners on these to just help them be more durable for heavy duty use. So I don't have any frame stiffeners on this. I think at the time of this taping, we've got 208,000 plus miles on this. Thousands of recoveries using nothing but kinetic energy ropes. This is the factory receiver. It is attached with the factory hardware. It has never been off. This frame stiffening that I've done here is so that I could convert to coil springs. This wasn't done for any type of strengthening of the frame for recovery work. This Jeep did recovery work with the original leaf springs, changed those at about 205,000 miles. So it's only got about 3,000 miles on these coils. None of the body seams, nothing. There's no stress indication anywhere from the work that we've been doing with this Jeep. If the type of recovery that I do using the kinetic energy rope, the Yankum rope, if it was damaging to the vehicle that I'm extracting, this Jeep would be in big trouble, because it's going to see the same forces as whatever I'm pulling out. This is the 7/8 inch diameter Yankum rope. It's got a 30% stretch factor, so that means if it's 100 feet long, it will grow 30 feet in length by the time it reaches its maximum working load. So they're very, I mean, I can't stretch it with just my hands, but they're very soft when you hit the end of them. So I've had a cup with water, a big like 44 ounce, 3/4 of the way full with water in it, no lid on it, and I'll have it in the cup holder in the Jeep and do a job. And somebody will invariably type that I'm ripping the car apart, but I didn't spill a drop of water. So it's a very gentle process. If you're not familiar with it, it would be good to educate yourself. These aren't the same as the snatch strap. Most of the snatch strap specs that I've looked at are about 18% stretch factor. So we're nearly double the elasticity over a snatch strap. And that's a game changer when it comes to using a 4,000 pound rig to pull out something really big, 10 to 20,000 pounds. That's how this Jeep can do it. All right, Ed, you weren't here, but we had a fan of the channel stop by and bring you a treat. They're saying the dogs kept getting the treats and they want Ed to get a treat, so very good treat.
Thank you. That's too nice of you. Where are they from?
They're from here.
Oh.
His name's Ed too.
Oh.
So from one Ed to another Ed.
Oh.
And to clear things up, because I'm getting slaughtered from the last video, This is John. He owns Freya, the
Yeah.
dog that did not get a dog treat.
She gets a lot of treats. She gets a lot of treats. She could probably miss one treat and survive it.
That is funny. Merry Christmas to everybody, and thanks a lot for the gift.